Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about the new Star Wars TV shows, the new Star Wars movies that are currently in the works, as well as the lore in general that's really going to interconnect everything between of what Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and Lucas are all putting together as we speak. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and really make sure to interact with you guys further. So what's even all the more exciting right now has everything to do with, of course, what's been going on between Favreau, Filoni, and Lucas of really pushing all of these great concepts and ideas for, of course, what's going to come at Star Wars Celebration. There's going to be a lot of announcements between new movies, new TV shows, books, novels, comics, and video games that are all going to intertwine. And I think that when we look at everything related to that, of how they are combining Legends with the already existing Disney canon, it really is kind of allowing all fans, universally speaking, to come together and enjoy this franchise even further. Now, on top of all of this, we already know that Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy, for a prime example here, is having a lot of trouble with the Acolyte TV series for a great reason there, is that it's not in tune with the vision of George Lucas. Something that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are really respecting and admiring and making sure that they actually stay true to all of that. Now, on top of all of this, what's even all the more intriguing has everything to do with, of course, everything related to the new TV shows and how it's all going to be structured and executed by George, John, and Dave. But Disney CEO Bob Chapek, he's been going through a lot of adjustments to the Star Wars universe behind the scenes over the past number of weeks and the months, and really making very significant changes to how Star Wars is being handled from this point on forward. So, given that both Lucasfilm and Disney are currently working on new revolutionary technology for The Mandalorian Season 4, and even the Ahsoka Tano series, creators Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are getting ready to actually announce a host of new Star Wars shows by this May at Star Wars Celebration. Now, it's described, however, that recently the Disney CEO Bob Chapek canceled a major Star Wars project behind the scenes that was greenlit for years under Kathleen Kennedy's wing when she held creative power. This project was, of course, a new Star Wars trilogy that was going to focus on the High Republic era of Star Wars that Chapek recently canceled. Altogether, of course, and finalized this actual decision just recently. Now, the main reasons for the cancellation of this trilogy had to do with the fact that Kennedy was pushing for this to be a trilogy that would focus on away from violence and away from wars in the Star Wars universe, and instead strictly focus on peace and no wars in the Star Wars universe. Chapek knew for the longest time that this trilogy would not end well with the fans, as this franchise is always about conflict and battles across the galaxy. And you know what? Chapek had his head on right here, because after all, when you look at the title of this franchise, Star Wars, it literally has wars in the title. You can't back that off. You can't shy away from that. You can't make believe it doesn't exist. This franchise is all about conflict, struggles, and battles between good and evil. That's what it's all about. And it really does take a lot of inspiration from mythology and mixing it in with space, and that's exactly what George Lucas wanted to do, and what he's going to continue doing with John and Dave. But this project in particular that almost made it to Disney Plus, and we're going to get to that in just a second, this would have been a disaster, at least in my book. I don't know about you guys, but the High Republic, it's just not for me. I've read all the comics, I've read all the books so far, and so far it's just not that great. Now, I actually read them not out of enjoyment, but to get a better understanding of what it's all about and exactly where it stands, and to get a better judgment on whether or not it's improving or declining. And one thing I can say is that with each and every installment of the High Republic that I have read, it's really not looking great, at least in my opinion. If you guys like it, that's fine. Please, if anybody out there likes the High Republic, that is all fine and okay. But on top of this, alright, now the trilogy was going to feature characters like Geode, the Rock, and even Avar Kriss. The series was also going to tap into the origin of the Nile, who in the comics are treated as the villains in a sense. However, Kennedy wanted to focus on when the Nile were peaceful people that would change how fans view the High Republic characters. This series was also going to focus on the return of Yoda in a brand new way that was going to be crafted in a way that would have created tons of fan backlash. Kennedy's version of Yoda in this trilogy was going to feature Yoda tossing away the belief of the Jedi Order. This is something that Kennedy is set to use in the Acolyte series, however, with Yoda. Bob Chapek knew that this series was going to only create more problems for the Star Wars universe and wanted nothing to do with it, and recently and finally ended it all together. This trilogy was also going to feature other characters like Geode the Rock, including a large thunder-like storm that holds a consciousness that would invade specific worlds in the Star Wars universe. Now, to Chapek, all of this sounded ridiculous and as a huge threat against the success and momentum of the new universe under both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's creative output. Now, Chapek even at one point in time tried to keep this trilogy on board with major changes, but later decided to avoid this altogether before it caused any kind of further trouble. Now, this trilogy was planned to drop on Disney Plus, marking it as the first set of Star Wars movies to arrive on the streaming platform meant for the platform. However, Chapek is not ready to do any of this as of yet for the platform and wants to strictly focus with movies in theaters and TV shows on Disney Plus for the time being. He also was not in support of how the films would be treated as small-scale movies that would be lower budget in nature. Now, here's the thing about this, alright? Kathleen Kennedy wanted to introduce and release movies on Disney Plus. Though they would be more small scale, though they would, yes, be lower budget, she wanted to release movies on Disney Plus. I don't think that we're ready for that yet. That's my true and honest opinion. I don't think that we're ready for that just yet. I think that what we need to do is that we need to settle on the Star Wars TV shows first, get that momentum rolling more and more throughout, the next 2 to 3 years, and, then maybe we can move on to movies. We already know that Disney has been pitching a lot of those ideas to release movies on the Disney Plus platform, and whether or not it would be good for the actual, platform or the service for subscribers. Again, like I say, if movies are to come on Disney Plus, they are going to be intentionally done on a lower budget level and a smaller scale level. So I don't think it would really feel like a true Star Wars movie even at that. It would feel more around the lines of an elongated TV show just bundled in one sitting. So, like I say, I think that Kathleen Kennedy never really had her head on straight when it comes to Star Wars. This is yet another prime example that the High Republic era is indeed a Kathleen Kennedy creation, and it is, by the way. This is something that Kathleen Kennedy pushed for. It's something that Kathleen Kennedy really, forced the fans to actually enjoy, and a lot of fans just are not enjoying it. Now, some fans out there like it. Like I say, that's fine. Everybody has an opinion. That's just going to happen. But there's no denying the fact that the majority does not enjoy the High Republic era, and obviously, that's, I think, one of the main reasons as to why the Acolyte TV series is not going to be that great in 2023. Not just because just strictly of what it is, but how Kathy Kennedy and Leslie Headland are handling it, of how they're not really focused on character development or story. They're more so focused on the identity politics, the diversity, and of course, throwing in the real-world issues into the show, which is something that I think that, we really need to shy away from and just ignore. We don't really need real-world issues in Star Wars. So, like I say, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.